students, I am Sandhya Chauhan, working as an assistant professor in Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida. Okay. So, today's topic is ICH guideline. Okay. Okay. So, ICH provide guidelines on quality, safety, efficacy, and there is one more guideline, it is multidisciplinary guideline. Okay. So, quality guideline covers those guidelines related to chemical and pharmaceutical quality assurance. For example, stability testing guideline comes under quality guideline, impurity testing guideline comes under quality guidelines, okay, and there are number of guidelines which comes under quality. Okay. Second is for safety. ICH also provide guidelines for safety evaluation of new drug substances and new drug product. So, those guidelines relate to in vitro and in vivo preclinical studies. For example, carcinogenicity testing, genetotoxicity testing, etc. comes under safety guideline. Okay. Next is efficacy guideline. Okay. So, those guidelines which are related to clinical studies in human subject, dose response studies, good clinical practice guideline. So, these guidelines comes under efficacy guidelines. Okay. And the last is multidisciplinary guideline. Okay. So, cross cutting topics which do not fit uniquely into one of the above mentioned categories, these guidelines comes under multidisciplinary guideline. Okay. For example, guideline for medical DRA, for ESTRI, for M3, for CTD, M5. So, let us discuss quality guideline. Okay. So, the first guideline is Q1A R2. Okay. This guideline is for stability testing of new drug substances and new drug product. This guideline provides information about the stability of new drug substances and new drug product on variety of environmental condition. Okay. For example, how a drug stable shows stability in various condition of temperature, okay, and how and stability of drug substance and drug product in various relative humidity or when the relative humidity changes, and light sensitivity of the drug substance and drug product. So, stability of drug substance and drug product in variety of conditions can be determined the help of this guideline. Okay. This guideline also helps to establish retest period for the new drug substances and for establishing a shelf life for new drug product, as this data is necessary for registration of new drug substance and new drug product. So, this guideline plays very important role in the registration process. Okay. Next is Q1B guideline. Okay. So, this guideline is for photostability testing of new drug substance and new drug product. Okay. So, in this guideline provides principle for photostability testing. So, with the help of this guideline we can determine the photostability of our new drug substance and new drug product. Next is stability testing of new dosage form. So, Q1C guideline provide information about stability of new dosage form, okay, and this guideline also gives information how to submit reduced data for the registration of new dosage form, because the stability data is also submitted in Q1A guideline, okay, because the stability testing is already performed for the new drug substance and new drug product. So, here we are performing stability testing only for new dosage form. So, this guideline also provide information on how to submit a reduced data. Q1D guideline, okay. So, Q1D guideline provide information on bracketing and matrixing design for stability testing of drug substances and drug product. Next is Q1E guideline, okay. This guideline is evaluation of stability data, okay. So, the data we got from the stability testing of new drug substances and new drug product is evaluated as per this guideline, because this data is required for final registration of product. So, this guideline provide principles and methodology for the evaluation of stability data and how to submit the data for registration of new drug substance and new drug product. Q1F guideline. See, this guideline is for stability data package registration in climatic zone 3 and 4. So, currently this guideline is withdrawn, okay. Now, next guideline is for analytical validation, okay. So, Q2A guideline is for analytical validation. This guideline provide information on analytical validation of identification test for impurities, quantitative test, qualitative test. So, for every analytical validation, for every test, this guideline provide information, this guideline provide. Next is Q3A and Q3D guideline, okay. So, Q3A guideline and Q3D guidelines are for impurities, okay. So, Q3A guideline is for impurities in new drug substances, okay. So, with the help of these guidelines, we can identify the impurities, okay. We can know about the limit which is acceptable for impurities in drug substances and drug product, okay. So, this guideline provide information on impurities. Q4 guideline, okay. This guideline is for pharmacopoeial harmonization, okay. So, pharmacopoeia contains information about various substances, various product. So, this guideline also very important, okay. Next is Q5A guideline, okay. So, Q5A guideline is for viral safety evaluation. Okay, so this guideline is very important in case of biological and biotechnological product. Okay, so for the evaluation of viral safety in biological and biotechnological product which are derived from human and animal cells, this guideline is applicable. Okay, so by following this guideline we can evaluate the viral safety profile of biological and biotechnological product. Next is genetic stability. So Q5B guideline gives information, gives recommendation on genetic stability of biological and biotechnological product. Q5C guideline. Okay, so Q5C guideline is for stability testing of biotechnological and biological product. So this guideline gives information on stability testing of biological or biotechnological product, means what are the time points, what are the different environmental condition, what are the temperature and humidity condition required to check the stability of biological and biotechnological product. So everything about the stability of biological and biotechnological product is explained in Q5C guideline. Okay. Next is Q5D guideline. This guideline is for cell substrates. Now move on to Q6A guideline. Okay, so Q6A guideline is for specification test procedures and acceptance criteria for new drug substances and products. Okay, so this guideline gives information on specification, test procedure and what are the acceptance criteria for those tests. Suppose we have performed any particular test on a dosage form, then we have got a certain result, then that value is acceptable or not. To get this information we have to go through this guideline. Okay. Next is Q6B guideline. Okay, so Q6B guideline is for specification, test procedure and acceptance criteria for biotechnological and biological product. Okay, suppose we have tested a biological and biological product, okay, and we got a value, then how we will know that this value is acceptable or not? To know that we have to go through this guideline. Okay, so Q6B guideline is for specification, test procedure and acceptance criteria for biotechnological and biological product. Okay. Next is Q7A guideline. Okay, so Q7A guideline is for good manufacturing practices for active pharmaceutical ingredient. Okay, so Q7 guideline gives information on good manufacturing practices. It covers all the aspect of product manufacturing or active substance manufacturing, means it covers personnel, it covers the facility, it covers the hygiene practice, it covers the equipments used in the manufacturing of active pharmaceutical ingredient. So, every aspect of active pharmaceutical ingredient is covered by GMP. Okay. Next is Q8 guideline. Okay. So, Q8 guideline is for pharmaceutical development. Okay. So, this guideline provide information on development of new pharmaceutical product. Okay. So, this guideline gives information on how to develop a new product, okay, how to set the target we want to achieve in the drug product. Suppose they are the manufacturer is planning to develop a IR tablet, okay, then this guideline provide information on how to develop a new immediate release tablet. Okay. So, for example, before developing a drug product or a new drug product, we have to set our target, means which type of dosage form we want to develop, what will be the route of administration, what will be the dimension of that particular dosage form, okay, what will be the assay values, what will be the identification test for the new drug product, and what will be the pH. So, everything, every information or every information is given in this guideline. Okay. And next thing is, after setting the target, we have to identify the critical process parameters, we have to identify the critical material attributes which may affect the quality of final product. Okay. So, this guideline gives information about that also. Next thing is, after identifying critical process parameter and critical material attributes, we have to develop a design space. Okay. So, after developing a design space, we will go for the life cycle management of that product. So, this complete information is given in this guideline. Next is quality risk management. Okay. So, this guideline gives information on how to identify the critical factor. It gives methods, tools for the quality risk assessment. For example, FMEA, failure mode effect analysis, it is a tool of quality risk management which is used to assess the risk factor which may affect the quality of final product. Okay. Next is pharmaceutical quality system. This pharmaceutical quality system is for overall maintenance of quality of pharmaceutical product. Okay. Next is Q11 guideline. This guideline is for development and manufacture of drug substances. Q12 guideline is for life cycle management. Q13 guideline is for continuous manufacturing of drug substances, drug product. Q14 guideline is for analytical process development. So, here is guideline for safety. So, S1A guideline on the need for carcinogenicity studies of pharmaceutical, S1B guideline for testing of carcinogenicity of pharmaceutical, S1C guideline is for dose selection for carcinogenicity studies for pharmaceutical, S2 Our one guideline is guidance on genotoxicity testing and data interpretation for pharmaceutical intended for human use. S3A guideline is note for guidance on toxicokinetics, the assessment of systematic exposure in toxicity studies. S3B guideline is for pharmacokinetics, guidance for repeated dose tissue distribution studies. S4 guideline is for duration of chronic toxicity testing in animals. S5 guideline is for detection of toxicity to reproduction for medicinal product and toxicity to male fertility. S6 guideline is addendum to ICH. S6 guideline is preclinical safety evaluation of biotechnological derived pharmaceuticals. S7A guideline is safety pharmacology studies for human pharmaceutical. S7B guideline is the non-clinical evaluation of the potential for delayed ventricular repolarization. S8 guideline is immunotoxicity studies for human pharmaceuticals. S9 guideline is non-clinical evaluation for anti-cancer pharmaceuticals. Here are efficacy guidelines. So, E1 guideline is the extent of population exposure to assess clinical safety. E2A guideline is for clinical safety data management. E2B guideline is for maintenance of the ICH guideline on clinical safety data management. E2B guideline is for revision of the ICH guideline on clinical safety data management. Next is E2C guideline, clinical safety data management, periodic safety update reports for marketed drug, post approval safety data management, definition and standards for expedited reporting. This is E2D guideline. E2E guideline is for pharmacovigilance planning. E2F guideline is for development safety update report. E3 guideline is structure and content of clinical study report. E4 is dose response information to support drug registration. E5 guideline is ethnic factors in the acceptability of foreign clinical data. E6 is for good clinical practice. E7 is for support of special population, for example geriatrics. E16 guideline is genomic biomarkers related to drug responses. Now, the multidisciplinary guidelines, MedDRA is for medical terminology. M2 ESTRI, electronic standards for the transfer of regulatory information. M3 is for non-clinical safety studies for the conduct of human clinical trials and marketing authorization for pharmaceuticals. M4 is for the common technical document. M5 is data element and standards for drug dictionaries. Thank you.